Hey there, this is KV, and this is the moon phase report for the full moon that is coming on Sunday, March 16th, around 11:09 Mountain Time. And what I want to say is this is the 1 year anniversary of me putting these videos out. So yesterday was my birthday, because last year I did these on March 11th, which was the new moon. So it's kind of cool that I've come full circle on these. But one thing I'm also really kind of seeing is I want to kind of get back to how I was doing them before, which is more astrology and less talk about me and my life. So I think I'll put me and my life into a book or something like that and keep it out of the picture now so that I can just kind of get to the heart of the matter with astrology, because I do believe that's what you're here for. So I will maybe keep my life things on my blog on Aquarius Nation. So if you want to hear more about what's going on with me and my ponderings of the universe, I will have that over there. As for this forum, I'm going to keep it to astrology. I also really wanted to, a couple weeks ago, I got inspired to call this Keeping It Real with KV, because I really do, want to bring you things that go to the heart of the matter, and with not too much of, I don't know, what did that mean? Just like, not so much, I don't know, I'm just keeping it real, you know what I mean. I also want to always make the point that a lot of times how I talk and the examples of what I give are in a way to crack the code in you, to resonate with something like how you talk. And so I kind of like to keep with doing that. And again, especially with this being a full moon in Virgo, being perfect is something that's going to be coming up in all of our lives through others, most likely because it's a full moon. But just I just want to always make this my disclaimer that I'm not out to be perfect, and I'm doing the best I can, and I am learning just like you are all too. So I do want to make that point that, yeah, sometimes I say some things that are way inappropriate, and sometimes I say things that I later go, oh my gosh, I can't believe I said that. But even I would think about like editing them and taking them out, and then I would always be like, no, just keep it real. Just put out whatever you're doing and trust that it's going to hit somebody in a certain way, and don't get too much like, wait, I have to sit up here and be perfect, and I don't really want to be that way. And I'm trying to say that I'm on the journey with you guys too. I happen to be able to bring through some pretty kick-ass information that I'm learning too as I'm telling you. So please bear with me with how sometimes I just may say some things that make you like, oh, did she just really say that? And yes, I did. Do I regret it? Very possibly. But am I going to take it out and play perfect on you? No, I'm going to keep it real. So with this full moon, it's really exciting because, this is going to mean that the sun's in Pisces and the moon's in Virgo. So my sun's in Pisces and my moon's in Virgo. So this one's right at home with me, so I really understand what this one's about. But what is happening kind of collectively with us is we're more now than ever before really thinking about our dreams and how we can make these dreams a reality. We're much more in tune to what gives us value in life, and what we need to change in order to be living this life of our dreams. And because the sun is in Pisces and the moon is in Virgo, the kind of clue of what we need to let go of is going to be things that are judgmental based, or needing to be perfect based, or nitpicking things based. And one of the root things of this is how we're talking to ourselves. So something that's come to me over the past several weeks, I just kind of really got the wisdom of the only thing that really matters is how you see yourself. It doesn't matter if all these people say, well, you're that and you're this and you're the other. the only thing that really matters is what you feel about yourself, because that is the energy that's going out into the world to manifest your dreams and manifest your life experiences. So what other people think of you really doesn't matter. It doesn't affect your ability to manifest your life unless you give it too much importance and you believe that this person said this, so you have to, believe in that. And what that does is then it makes you not feel good about yourself, or it makes you think something's wrong with you. And basically that's not a fair thing to do to yourself. And I'm actually in this healing class right now that I'm teaching, and it's one thing that comes up over and over and over. It's this thing of like being told you have to do it this way, you can't do it that way, it's not possible to manifest these kind of dreams, you need to be realistic in life, you need to just find a job, or there are no jobs, or you'll never make a living doing that. So there's a really big mental aspect to the energy right now, and it can really feel kind of battering. I don't know one person who's not being pounded to the first degree with things coming into their life that just kind of shatter them and really make them, I started hearing it a couple weeks from people, and really kind of floors them. And because they want to make their lives better, and because they want to be the best peoples they can be, they are taking this inward and really kind of trying to understand what they need to change in order to have that match up with the person who's criticizing them. And, one thing I've learned is that anytime this judgmental, because Virgo is about being a little too judgmental. It's being a little bit too much about seeing everything that's wrong and being like, that's not right, that's not right, that's not right. And really kind of putting things in boxes. And, the other side of Virgo is so open and more accepting of things. And so we're trying to get to that, this kind of healing process of taking away that inner critic that was actually birthed through the opinions of others, most likely starting from childhood, where these messages were put into you about what kind of box you need to be in your life in order to really thrive. And if you think about it, all those opinions were coming from past generations. They go down the lineage, but we're in such a new world here now that we really do have to stop and say, wait a minute, does this really bring value into my life? Do I really believe that I can't go out and make these dreams a reality because other people tell me that you can't do something like that? That's not a job that you can create in the world. So what's going to happen with this full moon is provocation will definitely be going on, and it probably already has. Even when the moon was moving through Leo, it was still going to be having this kind of, somebody coming in, or just things happening that kind of make you feel like you can't really love yourself, or you don't really love yourself, or you're not really good enough. So there's been lots of sadness. You've probably had some really deep heart sadness and not even knowing where it came from. Either it came like that just out of the blue, or it came from provocation. And basically what I just really want you to know, especially, with Pisces and, Virgo, there's a need to be more like soft and compassionate with yourself. There's a really huge need in the world for us to stop being our own worst enemies. And the more we can work on ourselves and love ourselves, we're going to look out with these eyes that only see love and compassion for others. I always say that, like, on the spiritual path, once you start healing your wounds, you end up having these very compassionate eyes with everybody, because you know that they can change on a dime just like you did. We've all done things in our life that are so embarrassing, that appall us, that we may even hold on this guilt of being like, I don't deserve these good things because of these things that I've done in my life, or because of these things I've said in my life, or whatever. So there's a lot of guilt that people are carrying still to this day that is keeping them from living the dream. And right now we have this huge gate open opportunity that's mostly coming on Sunday, but started even like a week or so ago, because it's been this, I would even say, kind of like with the new moon and then with the Mars and Saturn going retrograde, it really kind of pulled us into really examining ourselves with a serious fine-tooth comb, because ultimately we all want to be the best peoples we can be, and right now we're trying to see what we need to let go of and transform and transmute in order to really live our dreams. Because right now the key is saying it's how we talk to ourselves, it's the voices we say inside, it's how we think of ourselves. You know, do we really think we're really valuable, you know, or are we still basing who we think we are on the opinions of others? Because most likely, if we're honest, we will see that a lot of what we are putting out there and manifesting in the world is what other people have told us we can or cannot do. And you know, that's kind of it's kind of that then kind of leads to us feeling guilty for what we've done or what we've said, or even, you know, the choices we've made in our life, because we still have those like bells inside of us. Is that's not acceptable. That's not what a good girl does. That's not what a good boy does. And the whole point is we just really need to be a lot more compassionate with ourselves. We need to think of like the one love energy. We need to think of how we're always affecting everybody else through our actions, through our comments. But the most important thing right now is that we find that one love, self-love inside of ourselves, and just be okay with what we've done. Forgive ourselves. To leave the guilt, we have to forgive ourselves. To leave the nitpicky, judgmental thinking and talking, we have to forgive ourselves. Because if we forgive ourselves, we're not going to look out at anybody and judge them harshly, because we're going to see that you can change just like I did. That person can change just like I did. You know, and also too, I always want to tell you this, we're a work in progress. You know, none of this stuff happens every night, and not one person out there only has one wound or one issue to heal. We've got so many layers, it's almost mind-boggling. So I know in this time now, your wounds are really coming to the surface to be made peace with. And when it does first come up, you will tend to go into the Piscean way of feeling like a victim, and yeah, you're right, I'm worthless. You're so right. You know, you're going to feel that kind of stuff. You may also have the overwhelm of, this is too much, this is too painful, you know, I can't do this, I can't look at this, I can't rise above it. But what I want you all to know is that this is it's kind of a short birth canal passage. It's not going to be that long. I guarantee when the wound gets hit and the cord gets hit and you feel wounded, and first you're going to bounce into, you know, like feeling like a victim, and yeah, you're right, I'm a loser. You nailed it. I do not deserve to live. I should be so ashamed of myself for the worthless piece of, you know, whatever that I am. You know, so you're going to have those kind of natural feelings. But if you can just be curious with this, don't be too much like trying to defend your role or trying to put another person in their place. Like, just kind of like with that martial arts or with that Tai Chi or with that whatever it is, where you're not fighting it, you're not avoiding it, but you're just kind of moving with it. So you take it in, you see what is valuable to you, you see what you need to learn, but you keep your eye on, this is a lesson that's coming for a reason. Really kind of trust and know that this is coming for a very good reason, and it's something you need to hear, even if it's painful, even if it's something that makes you want to lash and fight. Because of the Mars-Saturn energy, there's going to be lots of lashing and fighting, and I'm even kind of frightened that we have months and months more of this to go. So this could be like, you know, the intensive workout of the century. You know, this is like Biggest Loser for 24 hours a day for the next several months. So like, but the whole point is not to beat yourself up, and instead to be like really honest and mature, and you know, don't fault yourself if you do have moments of feeling unable to cope from it, because that's kind of a little bit of what the energy is about. It should feel so like, almost like, I can't deal with this, this is too much, I don't know how to work through this. It's true. I've been so horrible. I've been so selfish. I've been so self-centered. I have been so hurtful. I have been so egotistical. I have been so arrogant. Whatever's going to come up to you, you'll have these things come up. And the point is really, you know, don't prolong the birth canal that you're in right now, because if you can just be honest, I guarantee within like 2 or 3 days you're going to start seeing the light. In 2 or 3 days you're going to start kind of, you know, seeing a way to move through this so that you're not treating yourself like trash or pointing the finger at other people as being the trash and so messed up. And it's one of the biggest things in this, because Pisces is going to be this spiritual metaphysical vibration, and one of the things that does so happen at that point of when you enter the spiritual world and you discover all these tools, such as how to dream up your life through the thoughts in your mind, one thing that happens is the Virgo judgmental tends to take over, and that is what we have to get rid of. We can't have the like, I'm more evolved than you, or I'm better than you, or you don't even know about GMOs and all this stuff, so something's wrong with you, which it's kind of really natural for us to do that, but that's kind of like the beginning spaces of the spiritual path. But once I said, like, once you start to heal those wounds, you can't not have those compassionate eyes with everybody else, knowing that I was there too. I was there too, and I was not aware of the consciousness of what's going on in the environment, what's going on with the food sources, what's going on with water. When you weren't understanding of it, you too had like this this kind of like shield over you, where you weren't able to see what this was all about yet. You didn't have that awakening. And then we kind of say, once you have the awakenings, you can never go back, because now you know. So we have to learn to be, even with our wording's wanting to get like a lot softer. Our wording's going to be much more aligned into the dream in a couple days. A couple days after the new moon, or after the full moon, so that you're just more able to have that compassionate view. So do know too, if you're in any kind of strife with somebody, there's a solution to it, and that's going to be something that's going to be ushered in with the North Node moving into Libra. We're going to be leaving Scorpio and moving into Libra, and there's two different ways of mapping out the North Node, and it makes it a degree apart, and that's why some people are already talking about how it happened, and that's called the true node. And I do the mean node, which puts it a degree behind. But I mostly am seeing it so much now in the energy right now that I kind of like the mean node a little more, because of what's happening in the world right now. Because there's a lot of, with the North Node and the South Node, they're the only planets, although it's not really a planet, but the only, what do I want to call that? This symbolic term, symbolic messenger. Okay, so they're the only ones that, they're always in an exact opposition, and then they're the only ones that move backwards around the chart. So all the planets move in this one particular direction, which is counterclockwise, but the North Node and South Node move clockwise. So, we were at 5 degrees Scorpio, then 4 degrees Scorpio, then 3, then 2, then 1. We're like at 0 degrees Scorpio right now, and on around the 22nd, 21st, with the spring equinox, we move into the last degree of Libra, because it goes backwards. And one thing I talk about in my classes, so I'll share this a little bit, whenever it's like the first degrees, it's very much just kind of learning about something. So it's not really holding the wise perspective of that sign. It's more just like, kind of learning what it's all about. So to be in the first degrees of Scorpio, that's going to contribute to a little bit of the lashing that's going on out there. Not really thinking through and just like mad and being angry over everything and not really having the ability to calm that or to stop that. I feel like there aren't even screens out there right now with people. Like, it's just coming out. So that's going to be because it's at the first degrees, but then when we're going to shift into Libra at the final degrees. So you think about the final, the culmination, what it means to be Libra, to want peace, to want balance, to bring harmony when there is discord, to not just, you know, let it go and say whatever. You know, the Scorpio may like do something like that, whatever, but the Libra is going to be like, no, we have to bring peace to this. So for us to now be feeling this energy that is very much about almost like, you know, just spewing out things from our wounds, you know, speaking from our wounds over and over and over. And then we'll move into the Libra, and that's what my point is that we always have to bring harmony to this stuff. We're not really allowed to just like have these things with people and walk away. There's always this opportunity to come from our heart and to find the way to see what our part was in this, you know, not even worrying what their part is in it, because it's all about our part. And, you know, really kind of making peace with that so that we can come from the heart and bring this peaceful, compassionate, you know, understanding with peoples, instead of like warring and destroying things and then walking away. So there's a really big, important energy happening now where we are trying to find the tools of how to bring it into right action, bring it into peace, bring it into love, bring it into, we're all doing the best we can. And that goes along too with like not worrying about what anybody else thinks about us. Because the only thing that matters is us. Like, if nobody believes that we can do what we're doing, but we do, it's gonna happen. You know, I think I told you in the last video, I believe 100% that if you are 100% behind what you're doing or creating is valuable for the world, and if you know that, and if you're 100% behind valuing who you are, you will have success in the world. But if we're looking too much out at what other people think of us or how other people, what they're saying about us, it just tends to take us slamming down to the ground and being like, oh yeah, you're right, I'm worthless. And, you know, and there's learning in that. You know, so that's always a great opportunity for us to look closer at ourselves. But there's a reason it's happening, and it's for us to make this peace and forgive ourselves, you know, let go of all this nitpicky, judgmental, I'll never be good enough. You're right. My teacher told me I was a loser back when I was whenever, and I'm still holding on to that. And then everything that happens in my life now, I confirm that yes, my teacher told me I was a loser, or my parents told me I would never amount to anything. So this energy right now wants to have miracle work in your life, wants to have healings of the highest magnitude, and it all relates to that judgmental mind, that nitpicky mind. There's also going to be a healing aspect, I think I just said that, to this. So there's a really big healing potential with this energy now, if we can like pull out of that nitpicky, judgmental mind and really just open to the magic of the universe. Really just open to the fact that we are all gods. We are all a universe in our body. And I remember somebody telling me that like a decade ago. We're each a universe. We each have a number. I remember her telling me. I think yeah, but so you know, really kind of opening to the magic of things, opening to the ability to, you know, transform your healing through the power of your mind, to bring your body into abundant health, to have all these dreams manifest, to be living all these things that feel like miracles are on your doorstep every day. That is what is wanted for us. But it's going to come only when we can really get in there and check out those ways of thinking that we have, and with the, you know, nitpicky kind of stuff that we do about ourselves and putting ourselves down and always being like, I'm not good enough, I'm a bad girl, I'm a bad boy. Yes, you're right, I'm worthless. We have these really ingrained things in us, and it's time now to, you know, allow the powers of the universe to really kind of like chip away at that, so that we can have this more abundant space to manifest our dreams. Because when you love yourself, when you really value yourself, you can have anything. But this is the biggest journey in life for us, and we're going to do it though. You know, everything is, you know, especially that North Node coming into Libra, and like being able to work with others instead of running from them or running from problems. We're gaining this much more powerful energy to do whatever it takes to get as at peace with ourselves inside as we can. And just know, you know, don't beat yourself up. A lot of stuff's going to be going on right now. I was saying too, what's happening now is like where you're like, what? Like things are like, what? Things can change on a dime, and they just throw you into this, what happened? What is going on? It's not even clear, and it's supposed to be that way. You know, this is, you know, delusional waters we're in right now. So it's hard to see, and that's another reason I want to tell you, don't make any judgments right now about what's going on, because as the days go on, I mean, everything can change. You can go from a 1 day to a 10-day within 2 days. So do know there's lots of this work going on, but it's for our best, and it's so that we can be these properly aligned in emotional bodies, energetic bodies, so that we can really start keeping our thoughts on all these beautiful good things about what miracles we all are, and how what important magical things we're going to do in this world, and how everything has happened for a reason, and how, you know, it's not always like the end of the story yet. You know, like you don't know what this means, but one day in the future you will look back and see and be like, oh my gosh. So, you know, really kind of hold that space for that. And yeah, and what do you say? I'm going to go through really quickly and do just some individual readings on what area of life you're being given this gateway opening to let go of these kind of judgmental thoughts, beating yourself up, not feeling good enough. So, you know, because we're all going to be going through these right now. And it's just to clear them out. It's not to shine a light on it and be like, this is the rest of your life. You're a failure. It's all going to collapse and crumble. That's not really the point. It's to make you see some things that aren't really operating with what you're putting out into the world. So it's really going into our bodies and doing this really big, close examination. So let's start with Pisces, because this is your sun right now. Yours is going to be very much in relationships with others. So you're going to be, probably more than anybody else, you will be in some conflicts with others. Whether you're being judgmental or they're being judgmental, there's going to be a lot to learn in this environment. And you're going to want to just, you know, remember who you are being a Pisces, and remember that you can manifest anything, and you are connected to spirit, and spirit, you know, like this magical vibration of love, and we're all in this together, just courses through your blood. And because of the too much emphasis on the nitpicky or people not understanding the Piscean way, maybe I should say, has caused you to more hide this stuff, and also to play the victim of taking on everything outside of you as being the truth. So there's going to need to be a switch with you of really kind of understanding where people are coming from, speaking through their own wounds or whatever, but understanding that it's always going to have something to do with you for you to look at, but then just like using your power to say, okay, thank you for bringing me that message. I'm going to shift out of that energy and move into this other space that feels better to me. That is more about working with energy and like working to heal this stuff, and not stay in this really grounded, I can't do that, I have to be this, I can't express like this. So really kind of setting yourself free so that you can go so into your body that you only listen to what's coming from you. It's really important that you tune into your powers of a Piscean right now, and let go of other people's projections or other people's judgmental things, but also to take those things out of yourself too. You don't want to give those in relationship anymore. You know, letting go of your own judgments and putting them on to people. because it's just as harmful to judge others as to be judged by them. It hurts no matter way. And we have to get out of this hurting each other world. We have to stop hurting each other, because what? It hurts, you know? And who wants to sit there crying thinking you're such a big loser? We don't. It's not fair to do, since we know we are gods. So, Aquarius. Aquarius is going to be very much about letting go of always feeling like, you know, yours is going to be too, like a lot of projected wounds that are deeply in all these layers of you. So you've felt separate from others, and maybe have even kind of taken on values of other people, that now it's really coming to the time of you need to really love who you are, Aquarius. And you kind of had to have it different, like not feeling okay in this world, not feeling safe in this world, always feeling like an outsider, you know, not feeling like you fit in anywhere. And this has actually caused you to have like these blocks in your body, and you probably to be kind of beating yourself up and reinforcing that, you know, yeah, you're a misfit. And there needs to be some more compassion and love put into feelings of your own self-worth, so you can really go in there and love yourself for who you are and not question it, and not, you know, always go back to what other people have said or what happened in high school and all those things that people did to reinforce that you're not right. So this is the time to really bring in that compassion and really remember to love who you are, because you're going to hear me say it all the time. You're so perfect. You're one of the leaders of all this new energy coming in. So we really need you to go deeply, see where you've been too hypercritical with these like wounds that you've had, where you are like reinforcing what other people have told you, when it's really their garbage that you've taken on. And we need this out of your system, because when you are in tune to your power, you can do anything. You can bend metal, you know, you can do anything. But we need to boost up your self-confidence, your self-love, you know, loving your body, even then being able to like express your creative gifts, because we need you out there doing them. Everybody needs to be out there doing that creative thing that they just love to do. That thing that when they do it, they don't think about time, they don't think about issues, they don't think about bills, they don't think about all this mundane stuff, but they're just creating and they're in it, they're in their flow. So that's where we need you. Capricorn. Capricorns is going to be about you're needing to have an upgrade with how your higher mind is operating. And it's something, there's possibly needing to be more compassionate with your communications, more loving, more soft, and not so rigid. There can be some rigid things that you've been carrying as the truth, but when you really do look closely, they're very judgmental, and they're very much nitpicky and not good enough, and then feeling like you're not good enough. And you know that you have this path that's a really long walk up this mountain, but it's an important path. There's not one Capricorn that's not living a very important expression in this lifetime. And for you, it's always coming later in life. You know, and that's not always the most fun thing to have to hear, but when you are older in life, you understand it completely. But right now, you're going through this kind of metamorphosis needing to happen with your higher mind, of really like, stop putting yourself down so much. Stop nitpicking how, you know, you've almost been like putting a box on your manifestations, because you are saying, I'm not good enough though, or they're all better. You know, there can be the element of others in this too, where you're looking out and being like, everybody's having so much more da da da. So really kind of go into your thoughts and how what you're saying to people, how you're communicating to yourself. And there wants to be this kind of integration moving into a more loving, peaceful, we're all in this together, you know, I'll help you, which will then end up helping me, you know, just this kind of thing like that. You know, just getting a new perspective on things too. You might even have some aha moments through what's happening, where you're like, oh my gosh, look at how I've been saying that every time I've been eating that food, or all these things, you know, I'm saying these comments. I would love all of us actually a lot of times to just always keep a microphone on us, just to really hear the tone of it, to really hear the wording of it, to hear how so many times our own wounds are coming out in what we're saying. So yours is going to be a little bit about that. and you can expect that you're going to go up in a level in the way your mind is working, so that other things can start manifesting in a more comfortable way in your life. And we'll be moving more focused into kind of childhood stuff with your career in the next month. But for now, it's just kind of like gaining new perspectives of like, what have I been saying? You know, what have I been doing that's really kind of putting me in a box and making me judge who I am and think I'm not good enough? Because we don't need that anymore. Okay, so Sagittarius is going to be, yours is going to be, yours is very much like, you know, even kind of like believing, you know, going back into that Sagittarian way of believing you really can do anything, you know, and this is going to be kind of more like career focused, and like there's possibly just some things maybe that we're told about how you can't do that, or that's not possible, or some kind of like a judgmental kind of thing that went on with kind of holding you back with what you really can manifest. Maybe something happened in college where you were told you are not good at that, or something that kind of changed your path. And what you're really kind of needing to do is put more kind of compassion into that space of messages that you heard from beginning times, or messages that really just stuck with you, that kind of, you know, maybe were other people's projections, and now you're like, wait a minute, you know, am I really shooting for as big as I can do? You know, am I kind of holding myself back thinking, no, it's already been done, or I can't do it, or I'm not good enough? Or so there's something with needing you to put some love and put some compassion and put some more like metaphysical dreamings into what you really can do. And because something you're here to do feels like it's something healing based anyway, you know, so you do have to understand that, you know, this is part of the process of bringing you to this healing work power with whatever kind of information or whatever you want to bring that is for healing the planet, healing bodies, healing the people, healing these thought processes. So something is needing to shift, but it's actually kind of coming from being more loving and compassionate with, you know, where you came from, and, you know, really realizing that it all did happen for a really good purpose. And there can be some things that seemed really confusing, and maybe you've held on to them and have manifested things through them now. But just kind of finding the peace that can be found of letting go of some things that hurt you and seeing them from this higher, like God-like perspective of, you know, it all had to happen that way, but gosh, look at the skills I've gained, and like, look at this wisdom I have now. So, but there's something with your career that you do need to like open up to, and not judge yourself so harshly, like maybe it's taking too long or it's never going to happen, and just kind of like really kind of let that go and be like, I'm doing the best I can. Because as long as you can say you're doing the best you can, that's all you need to do. That's perfect. It doesn't matter if other people are going faster. It doesn't matter if other people are like, what are you doing? You haven't even finished that yet. You're still doing that. You know, just be like, I'm going my own pace and I'm doing the best I can. So Scorpio. Scorpio's going to be, yours is going to be yours is going to be actually another one that'll be similar to Pisces, with feeling some provocation from others, and most likely from friends or from any kind of groups that you're in. So there's a need to like maybe tone down the critical, the judgmental, the nitpicky, the school teacher kind of attitude is going to need to be kind of shedding some layers and let go of. And the way to really be doing this is to be more like, you know, kind of let go of some of that uptight kind of stuff and be more carefree with like even like your creativity, you know, be more like carefree about life. Don't feel like you have to control things. That can always be a Scorpio thing. And we're like in a time of going with the flow, you know, and it's about trusting what comes into our life and trusting there's a reason for it, and kind of learning to work with it instead of like trying to control everything and keep it in a box and keep it, it has to be just like this. I need it to be just like this, because that's never going to work in the world. You know, it doesn't, we don't get to have that privilege in life. we always thought we could, but especially now with this boomerang effect of karma swinging back at us so quickly, and and that kind of stuff. So you're going to need to kind of focus more on the fun of life, being like a kid, looking out through life with more kid eyes, and just trusting things that happen, and not feeling like, oh, I have to make this work, or I have to convince everybody else to do this, and just kind of be more carefree and fun loving, and forgiving yourself, because it feels like it could be something too that came from childhood, or it came from something that has now created this need to think you have to control. And remember too that it's the lessons are going to come through friends and through groups. It's always going to come outside of you now, but you are to take it inside and be like, okay, I can hear this, so that we can kind of come forward. And honestly, what's going to happen is you're going to have like this. Well, next you're going to be working on your thought processes and what you're saying and stuff. But there's just going to be more of a freedom for you when you can really fall into that. Whatever happens, happens. I'll work with it. I'm a survivor. I am all this strength, and rah, rah, rah. I can get through this. Okay, so Libra. Libra is going to be with yours is going to be like, see, you sweet little dumpling. You probably can really like, because you always, want to be this thing that's, more sweet and loving and compassionate, and there's something with needing to not beat yourself up so much, and you'll kind of recognize it when you're in the space of retreat. So you'll recognize it when you're in a meditative space, or you'll recognize it when you're like doing yoga. Probably things like that too are really important. Like if you haven't been doing those kind of self-care things, it's really important that you do. And there's kind of an element of healing with this wanting to take place. And also, you're going to want to be keeping your mind always open to the healing factor of like, you do have these special gifts to bring in the peace, to bring things into balance, to, help extinguish fires so that a new growth can come. And not just, and not to also see it in such a bad negative way, to be like, wow, now we get to have new growth, so yeah, that old had to die away, but now we get to have new growth. So there's something with the way you're talking that needs a little more compassion and love and not necessarily sympathy, but more just like softness with yourself, because maybe getting a little too harsh with, feeling like you're never doing enough, nothing's ever working out, you aren't good enough when you're perfect. A North Node coming into your sign is going to be a really nice thing. And it's really going to acclimate all of us more to the Libra way. So right now you're really being given this opportunity to see where you're being self-defeating, or where you're imprisoning yourself in a way by the words that you're using. And most likely it feels like with yourself, not really with others exactly. I mean, there's a possibility of it because the sun's at such a late degree in Pisces, so it can overlap into being something with others. But the real lesson is you having more compassion with yourself, you making time for self-care, you being more gentle with you really knowing you're doing the best you can, and if you can just say that, all this other stuff can really start manifesting in a much more harmonious way. You even like moving into having much more harmonious relationships can also be a possibility. But we just need you softening up a little bit, because we love you. We love the Libras. We don't want, them to be like never thinking they're good enough, or they're so bad and all this stuff. It's just not fair to do to yourself. So learn to, the provocation that's coming, whether it's, voices. I don't know if you're going to be hearing voices of like, see, you're worthless. I can tell you right now in the energies, there's lots of these separate voices coming through that aren't us. And I don't really understand what this is, but it's not cool at all. I wrote an article on it, but it's very defeating. It's very much telling us that we can't do this stuff. We are losers, we're worthless. And it's not a God voice, it's not a voice of ours, it's something outside of us. And I don't even know if it's like an energetic testing for us to really kind of fight those things. But I've had like nights and nights going to bed where it's horrible. It's a horrible feeling. And I'm like, what is this? I just thought I could do anything a week ago. And now I don't even think I should be out in the world. I'm such a failure and all this stuff. But I can feel that it's outside of me. It's a different kind of energy talking to us. So it's probably happening to you too. It's happening to all of us, I believe. So it's really about just kind of like not buying into that. And just, then saying it, what do you want me to do then? Maybe asking it questions. Tell me what I need to do. Tell me what I need to change then. Because it might be working in this scary way to make us open up to different things that we need to change in our life. So Virgos is going to be about this, obviously. So this one is just really about you waking to always needing to be perfect and to always feeling like other people need to define you, and you won't really know if you're good unless everybody loves you around you or everybody's telling you how awesome you are. So this is where you can be kind of like your worst enemy, where you're looking out at the world and seeing what's going on around you, and then you're judging yourself on that. So if anything's not good, you're judging yourself. You're being nitpicky with yourself. So there's the need for you to just be much more liberal and open and looking at people again through like those spiritual eyes of knowing that we're all just walking wounded. We all have a lot of layers of wounds to heal. So we do our best not to judge others, because with this energy, it's going to swing back. Anything we put out there is going to swing back, and now it can be like in the matter of days. So something about you awakening this and changing and wanting to just be more earthy and mellow and let it go, and they're doing the best they can, maybe even taking that perspective of always saying they're doing the best they can. I don't need to tell them what's wrong and tell them what they need to do and tell them what I think they should change in their life because I'm an authority. It's more just like send them support, send them love, and hope for the best. It's not your responsibility. You're not here to rule the whole world, And by doing this, you can really start to see your own relationships change, where more love is coming in and you're having more compassionate sharings with people. You're able to give more of that soft, loving, compassionate to your peoples, so that then this whole metamorphosis starts happening with your relationships, with your partners, with your work partners. So letting go of the nitpicky is utmost importance for you, and you can be a leader in this, because you're the one who owns this nitpicky perfectionist value. Being a Virgo, that's what they are. So using it in better ways so that nobody is being put down. There's not a disempowering thing going on. If it's empowering, go for it. But if it's stealing somebody's energy or making them feel less than, we have to nip that one in the bud. We can't keep doing that one out in the world. That's what has people so hurt. Support, support, support. If it's not going to be support, keep your mouth shut. Or send them the energy of what you think they need to change instead of the words that then come out having them feeling deflated and worthless, because that will swing back into your life in some other form. Leo is going to be with, yours is going to be something with, that's interesting. So yours is going to be something with letting go of, maybe you do kind of have some more nitpicky stuff with who you are. Maybe you too have that thing of feeling like I need to be perfect. I need to be perfect in the eyes of others. I need approval from everybody, and I need to know that I'm shiny, bright light, wonderful. And maybe there's something that, you need to be a little more compassionate and loving with, not really needing so much of that outside other to define who you are. There can be the strength of, almost like gaining that really warrior-esque power by saying, I don't need anybody else's approval. I love myself. There's a need right now for you to love yourself, for you to value your amazing gifts. Like you're the artist, and like, valuing what you're doing, valuing your body, loving who you are, and not separating from that, so needing other people to show you that you're special. I always say that too, like with people who like don't look up or don't need that attention, those are the people we always look at and check out, you know, like the one who isn't like, oh wait, is everybody noticing me? It's the one who's like doesn't even lift their head once, that like everyone is like, who's that? You know, so kind of gaining that sovereign way inside of you, like I love myself, so I don't need this approval from others. And what you may find is that you do have wounds that you did not realize that relate to needing that approval. And when you can just like make peace with them, you know, send some love to them, be more compassionate with understanding, you know, where this started or where it comes from, and then just kind of feel more like awesome about who you are, and to be like, I'm doing the best I can. Again, it's going to go back to this, just saying, I'm doing the best I can. Because when you say that, you feel like all this stuff shift and settle in your body. I'm doing the best I can. Like that one is nothing but high vibrations. But oh my gosh, I'm not good enough. I didn't do that. I'm late on that. I haven't done that. I should be more out in the world with that. I had this success and now it's not here anymore. Like the ebb and the flow of the waves, you know? So if you're beating yourself up like that, we're losing the pure lion heart that we need you to be. That's so like has so much to give to the world, because it's so confident and just settled in with who you are. So we need you to be a little more gentle with yourself and not too judgy of, you know, still thinking you haven't done enough. Who knows what amazing huge things you're going to do in 1 year's time, you know? Just be open to this. You are a work in process too. You know, we don't need to have you be so perfect in our eyes. And in fact, you just keeping it real is what really makes us love you more, and not needing anything from anybody else to know that, because you got it inside and you know that. Okay, Cancer is going to be with, yours is going to be something too that can be something with like, you've been beating yourself up with some words, and you've been really critical of yourself, and really thinking like something's wrong with you, and you know, being so sensitive too. It can be hard to not be affected by what other people think of you, but there is the need for you to just like be a little more gentle with yourself and allow more of this like magical metaphysical energy to kind of take you on this carpet ride into other areas of life, because you know, into like getting things so much more, like I'm seeing like from your neck up, like expanding your mind into these other ways of seeing things. You know, even like having things that you're working on going out farther into the world, anything going out and up. But it's all kind of relying on how you're feeling, what kind of words you're saying in your mind, how you're like nitpicking that you still haven't had the success that you wanted, or things haven't gone the way you've wanted them to, or you've had so much pain in your life and it's just unbearable. And there's something with you needing some healing there. There's something really needing with, and this is going to be a big area too with the Mars going retrograde. It's going to come back and remind you over the next months, but you know, just needing to be more gentle and not so judgmental with yourself, and bring in some healing of you're doing the best you can. You know, you can't change what happened. There has to be something good about it. You know, really kind of gaining a new perspective right now. And when you can do that, so much more can blossom out into the world in a much better way. But we don't need you putting yourself down. You know, Cancers are the ones who are really rising up out in the world. The Cancers are here to do bomb diggity stuff out in the world. But you're keeping yourself down because of this judgmental thinking that you're doing to yourself, that is really just feeling like you're not good enough and everybody else is better, and what's the point? And so there's something too with like this is going to have a little bit of a flavor with the coming together with groups. There's a lot of room for support for others to be there for you, so that they can show you, babe, you're wonderful the way you are. We love you, you know? So You know, it's really good when we're building up that self-love in us to have a group or a family of people who just constantly are there to affirm our beauty and our strength and our wisdom and our power, you know, because we just need that going on for a little while, and then we can really go out into the world and not be so triggered by another person, how they looked at you, or how they whatever, you know, this little thing that then sends you into like a sad state. So, you know, really kind of like do be open to sharing more vulnerably and connecting with other people, even if it's like an online group, maybe if it's even out of your space so you feel safer to express, but you do need that kind of support in your life. And Gemini is going to be, so yours is going to be something with you know, because you're here to do something that's really kind of magical and metaphysical, and, you know, brings the compassion and brings the love into the world, and brings all things fairy and mystical and otherworldly. So there's something that came from like the beginning times of like, you know, it could even be that message of, no, you can't do that, you can't make a living doing that, there aren't jobs like that. So something that has kept you kind of even following the patterns of others, or just taking on these wounds and these judgmental thinkings, and, you know, something with your parents, something with messages that happened, something with chaos or things that happened in your childhood that made you think that I can't really believe in the metaphysical world. I can't really do a job that is metaphysically based or spiritual based, and thinking like those kind of things aren't possible, and really kind of like going back. And, you know, yours could be a lot of like soul work, inner work of listening to the messages, the words that you heard, or things that happened with your parents, or something that is still kind of devastating you in a way that's almost like keeping your life force from blossoming out. And we need you to kind of like let go of that stuff, and you know, bring in some more compassionate love to, you know, all those messages that weren't actually like fueling your growth in life, and instead putting you in a box. And you need to like, you know, branch that out and go as far and wide as is possible now with like with your dreams. So it's so important that you get on that dreaming vibe, that you get on that visualization vibe, that you really like take your career and really like create what you want it to be through, you know, your kind of dreaming state of seeing that everything is possible. You know, taking away, chipping away some of those things of saying you can't do these things, and be like, I can do these things, because you're here to do magic. You know, you're here to do brilliant, magical, mystical kind of things in the world, and we kind of really need you holding that space right now. And this is going to be a big process for you, because it's so important that now it's going to be like years of focus is going on in your career house like that, so that you can kind of like rise more above as the wisdom holder who's seeing that overall perspective of what they've had to walk, and not still beating themselves up saying, well, I'm still not good enough, well, that happened, so I'm a screw up, well, I haven't been able to manifest anything, so I must be a loser. No, there's timings with things too. You know, we really have to trust the timings of things. We have to let go of that control so that we can truly manifest our dreams. But you are encouraged to keep it on the dream vibe. You're encouraged to leave the earthly mundane ways and be like, I want to, you know, be an astronaut. If you want to be an astronaut, go for it. Somebody has to be, and everybody who is people who've said they've wanted to do it and they haven't given up on themselves. So don't give up on yourself. You have to break through some of these barriers that kind of you've put up that say, I can't really do this, and really prove that you can, in fact, do them. Taurus is going to be where you are. This is going to be another one of, you're going to be needing to cut loose. You're going to be needing to not be so uptight again with what other people have said you have to do, with what other people have said you have to run your creative gifts this way. Your creative projects will only work if you do this, that, and that. You need to kind of bring in this flavor of anything's possible and letting go of some of those shackles of the should do, can't do, must do, and kind of open up this kind of expansiveness. And it's going to happen through friends. So well, not only is it going to happen through friends, but it's going to happen through your ability to dream. And now is a really important time when you do want to dream the best. You do want to have like your whole year's mapping out going on right now, like what you really want to do, how you want to see this growth happen. And you know, also understand that everything is timing and everything in its own time, but really kind of shooting for the stars right now in your life and seeing where you're holding yourself back with these creative things you want to do by saying it just can't be done, or you're really not good enough, or, you know, not really speaking up and, you know, kind of just taking on what other people have told you is possible, and kind of going up some new levels like that with like believing in yourself and really kind of like being okay with making yourself seen as important, you know, or knowing what you're doing is important. And yeah, not, you know, well, I'm not good enough yet, I can't bring that creative gift out yet, or it's just not time, or I don't know enough, or, you know, anything like that. Like, you need to kind of chip away at a little bit of that judgmental thinking in regards to your creative input that you're putting out in the world, your projects that you're working on. Really just kind of like, you know, be more like, whatever, you know, I did the best I can. So this is good. Let's put this out. Let's do this. You know, so, but really kind of watch the ebb and flow of like friends and groups, and, you know, what they're kind of, you'll get like signs and pieces from them as to that it is the right time, that you really can do this. And then I, you know, contradict myself because I say timing is everything, but still, you know, just kind of even saying that it is the time, I'm ready to do this, is something that the universe will hear and be like, oh, you're ready? Okay, here, let me bring you all these opportunities. But if you are still saying, no, I'm not ready, this isn't good enough, you know, I remember doing that with my website, and then finally I was like, whatever, I'm just putting it out. And then like everything too, I just say, whatever, it's the best I could do. Here we go, let's put it out. And it's always kind of worked out good that way. But when I do nitpicky, I have that Virgo, so I can cut it down. It's not good enough. Everyone else is better. You know, when you do that, it takes the power out of what you're trying to create. So you need to be in the love. You need to be in the heart with whatever you're creating. And if you're in that heart, you won't nitpick it to pieces. You'll be like, this is really good. I felt good doing this. So, you know, keep it in the heart. And you can possibly be building that heart strength by being with your friends, or being supported in a group, being in some kind of group, multiple friends kind of situation that fills you with this passion about what you're doing. So they are going to be a big source of birthing this kind of new freedom of you with your creative gifts. And even if nothing does happen right now, this is a great and excellent time to just get it down to paper and or visualize it and start seeing how you do want it to take form. Because truthfully, over the next month, you'll be going through the death cycle that we have before our birthdays, and that can be a really great time to connect with spirit, so much so that we are guided in these other even new paths. Because it could even be, you know, a lot of things are changing for a lot of us. So we may have thought we wanted to do it just like this, but when we go into that retreat cycle, we see, oh, actually, I should put more of my energies into this. So do be open to how it is going to unfold, but do not judge yourself and your creative gifts so harshly. Be more open and compassionate with what an awesome job you are doing, and you are special. You know, allowing yourself to be special too, allowing yourself to feel special, and not be like, no, I can't be special. It's bad to think I'm special. No, it's good to think you're special. You know, that's that having 100% faith in what you're doing and 100% faith in who you are. So Aries is in that retreat cycle right now before their birth. day. And yours is going to be really in a lot of letting go of the critical mind. You know, really letting go, really kind of bringing more of the, and this has been happening big time for Aries anyway. You've really been bringing in the spiritual aspects of your life. And that's because we have Neptune and Chiron in Pisces. So those are sitting in your 12th house. So you are just thinking more about, like, you're probably more talking about like angels and things like that than you ever would. There's a lot more opportunity for you to really be connecting more to the magical, mystical ways of life, and not so much of the pushing your way forward to make things happen, but probably even retreating and feeling more compassion for others are really big things that have been transforming in you. And now there's another layer of needing to let go of, you know, things that maybe, you know, they very well could be health related, and I almost get the flavor of something like hidden related, like nobody knows about this, or it's something you just can't admit and you can't bring forward, and there's something that needs like some healing love with that. So there's something that where you need to just not be so hard on yourself, and possibly even like bring this out into the open so that it really can be healed. And that thought might just make you queasy, but I think you also know this, you know, and there's something that's been like self-defeating, or I don't know if it's addiction, or it's something that's taking away at your soul, and all these soul awakening things you're happening are trying to nudge you into, you don't need that in your life. This is not healthy for you. This is a habit that you started and you've kept doing it, but it's not what you need to do now, and you need to awaken to it so that you can let it go. And not have, because I feel like too, like in your mind, you're judging yourself harshly. Like that's why I said it's not necessarily something that you share, that people know about, but in your mind, you're like, oh, you know, and then beating yourself up, and you're never going to be good enough, and you have this habit, and da-da-da, and you need to heal it. So be open to something like that going on. And because you have so much time in the retreat right now to really kind of see things from a new kind of metaphysical, ooh, my nose just started itching like crazy. That's weird. It's almost like gonna make me tear up. But so I don't know, something with your nose. It was just like, oh my gosh, that's like intense. But so something that you know, you have a lot of opportunities to really kind of do some healing on this in the retreat, even over the next couple years. So no, it might be something that takes a while to fully bring the healing with, but just kind of be open to it, and just kind of put it out there that you're ready. And now my right nose is almost itching half to death. Okay, we're gonna have to move through this. I'm gonna have to like, so you know, really understanding that this is a long process of something, but we need you loving yourself more, or we need you being more gentle with the way you talk about yourself. Because if you're not doing something that you consider to be perfect, you just beat yourself up like crazy, and we don't need you doing that. We need you loving yourself, but we need you to go through this healing process. Just be open to it. Yeah, and Saturn too in the 8th house, it's even bigger because of that. You know, so you're, gosh, I didn't even put that stuff into the readings. That's funny. But yeah, really be open to, it's definitely this woundedness. It's definitely these underlayer things that just need to be healed and have some love put into them. But definitely over the next several months, you're going to have a lot of opportunities to see this, whether people show up to help you, whether you join with groups or whatever that kind of help facilitate this. But just be open to that. It doesn't help to beat yourself up, and that we all have things that we keep hidden that we need to let go of. So just kind of take that perspective of, you know, it's now or later, but why not have it be now? Because you've had all these other years doing it and you weren't able to face it, and we need you in this really healed, powerful state of that powerful, you know, strong Aries energy out in the world. Okay, so I'm going to leave it as that, at that, and this is again an example of one of my short videos. Yeah, So, just like they normally are. I tried to talk about so much less, too. Okay, but anyway, you guys have a beautiful... Oh, you know what? I guess I can tell you a couple more things. I did, last week, I wrote an article of what it means when Jupiter moves into forward motion, which it did last week. So you can go read about that on Aquarius Nation. It's beautiful. It's a totally hopeful and positive message. I'm going to be writing something on the Mars and Saturn retrograde. That's happening now and will for the next several months, and I'm going to write what that'll mean for every sign. I'm also doing this other video that I'm not going to tell you about yet, but that's going to be really cool. And I also have my next Moon Journeys class that starts on the 20th of March, and they're just a really cool class. I really teach you a lot about astrology, but in a way that you can use it to understand when these gate openings happen for you each month, like where you're supposed to put these efforts, where you're supposed to hold back and not engage. And I kind of guide you through your months so that you can really get a lot more comfortable with what's going on in your life. You'll know how long it's going to last, and you'll know when it happens. And that's what I realized through creating this class, that that's the one thing that people most struggle with. We don't know what's going to happen in the future, and we have a fear of how long it will last. So this way of understanding astrology, which you'll know more about astrology in this one class you won't even believe. You'll be like, I can look at a chart. I know what's going on in the chart. I can draw the symbols. I know what that means. So you'll learn a lot and quickly, and it'll be tools that you will take into your daily life, into your world. It won't be just something that you're like, whatever. Like whatever you put into it, you're going to get back, but you're going to have a map of your energy, your flow, the cycles, and what will happen is you'll be much more comfortable and relaxed in life because of it. So that class starts on the 20th. I also have a healing journeys class, but I need people to take the first class to move into the second class, but that one also starts on the 20th. So there's 2 new classes on the 20th. So yes, I'm very busy. I'm like, bring it more. I keep saying I need to cut back and go smaller, and then I then take on more because it's so exciting, and because ultimately we need people in this solid space of knowing their power and owning their power and feeling relaxed and safe in the world, so that they're not wasting all this energy worrying about what's going on right now or what is to come, and instead can feel so content inside that they can do more out in the world. So that's like the whole point of what my classes are all based on. It's nothing that's just whatever, I'm just going to teach you some whatever stuff. It's going to be tools that you're going to take into the world and use to feel more comfortable and safe in this place that we're in right now, in these amazing times, but in these most shocking and challenging times too. Because as we're all trying to collectively heal our wounds, it means we're coming up against everybody else in their wounds. So even like that, with what I teach you in the first Moon Journeys class, I can tell you when those wounds are going to be activated because there's direct hit points when people just show up to, throw you off balance. But when you know when they're coming, you can go, I know what this is actually, and then not take it so personally and be so devastated and depressed and all that. So yes, so hopefully I'll get to have some of you in that class and get to know you better. Okay, you have a beautiful day, and I hope this full moon just is, it can be a little bit challenging. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy breezy, but just understand that birth canal can be like 3 days, and if you just be open to what you need to learn, be open to be feeling compassionate for the other person who brought the provocation or whatever, if you can just do that, you will have a turnaround that doesn't happen that far from now, and it'll be a totally different flavor, and you'll be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I wanted to die 3 days ago. I can't believe I thought I was such a loser 3 days ago, and now I'm like, yeah, okay. So there's big healing potential in it, but you have to do the work, and you have to be open to it, and I know you can do that. I have great faith in you. Okay, you have a beautiful day. I will see you in 2 weeks.